Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to our not-so-regular Monday stream. Tuesday stream. Wednesday stream. We're live. Hello.
I believe it's Tuesday.
I believe it's Tuesday, yes.
Yes.
It is Tuesday. No,
hello, and we're back.
we are indeed back.
Weather report. It's really stormy. It's been peeing it down all day. However, there's a nice little bit of sunshine at the moment.
Yes.
However, I don't think that'll last.
No, it's been very, very changeable, so we'll get it out of the way straight away. Those of you who tune in for the weather report are not going to be disappointed, because we've had lots of weather, and boy, has it been battering us. We've had all the weathers, all the time. But hello, everybody. I see our returning members there. Hello, English Upstart. You've been a member for a very long time. So, to be fair, we've had quite a lot of nice loyal members. And that's a nice segue to say that, we get this out of the way pretty quick as a preamble. We are monetized, so you can ask questions via Super Chats, etc. Or if you don't want to pay the YouTube tax, we have the Ko-Fi for audience interaction. But that's just really kind of the preamble stuff here.
I suppose if you want, you could also go to the Substack and
Antipolitics.substack.com, yes.
read some of the things there, and also engage with this as a podcast with no adverts that you can pay for.
We put these up as kind of ad-free kind of audio format podcasts for people on the Substack because they enjoy that service. And also there's probably about 15 things I've not finished for the Substack. So we'll see about getting the Substack stuff moving again, because I've to be fair, it's not that bad. It's not that I'm like sat here worrying about it. I've just been trying to read and research.
As I know what the problem is, you're writing so much that you've taken all the writing energy out of the house, and I can't do any.
Basically, we'll get that moving again. We tend to go in fits and starts, and we're very bad. Piling up content. So
there's also just fuck all happening.
Well, it's not the fuck all's happening. It's just that we don't want to talk about it. As I put out as a post of the day, that there's a lot of stuff we could be talking about, but I really don't want to just pour the slop into people's troughs.
No.
And have them like, I don't want to be scratching around, what we're going to do for the weekly stream this week. Are we going to engage with some electoral politics? Are we going to pretend that Taylor Swift matters? No. Yes. No, we are not.
We understand that you, the audience, is too intelligent to subject yourself to that stuff in an inordinate fashion. I think I will also apologise in advance if at any point I either cough, sniffle, sneeze, or croak, because I still have a bit of a cold.
Hello. Thank you, Grief. Thank you for the 20 quid there. Here you go. I appreciate you guys. That's nice of you.
Talk about pies and beer? Yeah, well, we've talked about containment to death. Should we just talk about pies and beer?
Hey, if you want to hear about pies and beer, watch our Culinary Collapse stream.
But I want to talk about pies and beer.
We like pies, we like beer. Tell you what, let me, there we go. It's the lower third there. We've got Mr. Glow, and occasionally we can put the pint over him. To lessen the
all that glowing's really thirsty. Thirsty work.
Glow niggas don't drink Theakstons. Anyway, infinite containment.
At least I hope they don't.
I hope they don't. There could be a glow in your pint right now. No. What if there was a federal agent in your pint of Theakstons? No.
Yeah, but look, the audience are discerning people. I hate Constantine Kissen. You hate Constantine Kissen.
But you don't hate him enough.
Yes. I think trigonometry's wank and really should have no popular backing whatsoever. You probably think that too. So, as we'll work our way and dip our toe into what we're on about this evening, I think we'll use sort of trigonometry or the Trigger Pod or whatever fucking wank name it wants to go by. Is sort of one of the poles that we'll organise ourselves around.
They're a great example. For those of you who don't know what trigonometry is, they're members of like the intellectual dark web 2.0, basically. They are the second wave of the alternate centrist podcaster pod people. And they are pod people, but they have been pushed into all kind of corners. They're at the things like the ARC events. They're at these big debato events. They're being pushed.
They're on the fringe of the Tory party.
Yeah.
They're talking to Reform MPs. You can even see here that Dan Wootton suspended from GB News giving his real scoop, just like Calvin Robinson gave the real scoop on his GB News cancelling on Lotus Eaters.
Kind of.
It's almost like there's a pattern to these things.
There is. Well, It's all a tendril, as we'll come to show you, of the exact same containment networks. It's all the same people involved, it's all the same money involved, and it's all the same boring interests involved.
But I think, before we get into the fact that it's specifically Kissen himself who appears to be the front man for this, I think it's... whatever this is, I think he wants it to be recognised as his thing.
Yes.
And we'll maybe understand why he, as an individual, has a very interesting background and probably a very interesting view on the world. But just for the people in chat, I don't like trigonometry. I'm not going to watch it. Would you? You know, we've got 130 so people in chat at the moment. I'd say that's a nice respective band of people with different opinions from the online right, that something like this should technically really be advertised to.
Yeah.
How many of us here are actually going to watch this at all?
Basically none of us.
Yeah. Maybe 2 or 3 for the sake of research or hate watching it. And I think that's about it. So why is it popular?
That's the whole point of this, is that trigonometry are nominally well, I put it here. Constantine Kissen did in trigonometry, the penniless immigrant. I've entitled this. Because,
woe is me.
Woe is me. He's somebody who's pushed as a free speech hero, held up as anti-woke, held up as a friend of the common sense centre. And he was often platformed in regard to Ukraine in 2022 and 2023, as well as as something of a Russian dissident, in quotes,
yes.
Even though he hasn't really lived much in Russia since his teenage years, as we will come on to. But I don't want to explain who they are too much. Like I said, they're from the copy and paste machine that, like, Jordan Peterson's come out of. You know what I mean? The Jordan Peterson, the Brett Weinsteins.
I suppose these guys don't even have the academic backing, though, really, in any sense.
Well, they have, like, the weird Joe Rogan thing going on. What they do, and what the Trigonometry podcast is they will talk... Well, usually they will just let celebrities and slightly alt media, in quotes, people, so we'll get on to that extent to people like Bill Mayer as well. They let them talk at them and they nod along as they say largely horrible things. Then they challenge people when they go off-piste in terms of the regime, as we'll come to. But there will be actually... We don't usually do it very often in this because it can get you flagged. But we do have some clips, and there will be some clips coming up of this. But first of all, let's figure out who Constantine Kissen is. Let's have a little bit of his background, because as we'll get to, he's somebody who considers himself an immigrant, as it were. He's got to guess where it actually was there. There we are. But he was born, or at least his father was born. He was born. Constantine Vladimirovich Kissen, 25th of December 1982. He's age 41 in Moscow, Russia. Former Soviet Union. Excuse me. Early life and education.
Kissen grew up in Uzbekistan in the former Soviet Union to parents Marina and Vadim. Then 18 and 20 years old, respectively. His family is of Jewish and Russian heritage. His experiences in the country inform much of his own political worldview today. At age 11, he moved to the United Kingdom. He attended the Clifton College boarding school and subsequently Edinburgh University, which he left before finishing the degree. I mean, maybe there's a whole explanation there. His experience in Russia informed his worldview, and he stopped thinking at age 12.
Well, we have a picture of somebody here at least, but it keeps going. What is this? This is Newsline, November 21st, 1996, from Radio Free Europe. It's really their reporting out of kind of the former Soviet Union at this point. And it turns out his father, Mr. Vadim Kissen, was a very naughty boy because he was a Yeltsin-era official. He was somebody in the Yeltsin government, which is sorry, I forgot to have those on screen. Here we go. But yes, the early life. Anyway, but yes, Newsline, November 21st, 1996. Vadim Kissen, the first senior government official to fall victim to the crackdown on tax evasion, was dismissed after depositing $300,000 in foreign bank accounts without paying the appropriate taxes in Russia. The AFP reported on 20th November, citing Interfax, Kissen, 34, was deputy minister in charge of CIS affairs until his removal on 19th November. By the way, that is the weird bullshit Soviet, or post-Soviet at this point, investment platform in which a whole bunch of money gets washed for all of the Yeltsin-era officials. For those of you who don't remember how bad things were in Yeltsin's Russia, you should probably have a look at that.
Yes.
Because Yeltsin's Russia is possibly one of the most corrupt places that has ever existed on the planet.
Outside of Rotherham.
Outside of Ukraine. He will now be charged with large-scale tax evasion and faces up to 5 years in prison, and the confiscation of his assets, according to tax officials. Kissen reportedly opened several accounts in Western European banks between 1992 and 1994. Investigators found 10 bank cards in his or his parents' names issued by foreign banks. And here we have Mr. Constantine Kissen's version of events, which doesn't seem to, as we'll get into, gel very well with reality. Now I got to do the voice. Dad was 20 when I was born. At 30, he was a millionaire. In Yeltsin's Russia, a millionaire? Is someone allowed to be a millionaire? In Yeltsin's Russia.
No wonder Constantine Kissen is an avid supporter of the free market these days.
Shock therapy era Russia, yes. At 40, he was living in exile under a cloud of false allegations with no money. One of the funniest, erudite, and intractable people I've ever met. And also, he did block me for pointing the facts of his father out. Here's the original report from Radio Free Europe. And this is, again... 1997. Official names of officials name celebrity tax dodgers. And again, Mr. Kissen, a year later here, is still somebody who's considered on the run and not having paid $400,000 worth of income tax. But there's an incongruity here, because remember, it mentions that he attended a boarding school.
Not just any boarding school.
No, a rather prestigious boarding school. This is from the New Statesman. Can't really be trusted in many ways, but Constantine Kissen, being anti-woke isn't making you happy. The podcaster is the viral man of the moment, January 2023. But does he really have anything to say? Again, this is the New Statesman shilling, effectively, Constantine Kissen. Oh, the viral man of the moment, is he? Bigging him up, are they?
Plastered over Remainer Central. Should we just go for the interview but here we'll get a bit of a tone of
No. Well, yeah, we can do it if you want.
Just go up one more.
Yeah.
When I arrived at his podcast studio just outside London, Kissen, his podcasting partner, what, in the way that we are?
Yes, Francis Foster, the furniture. Yes. Or as we just refer to him as the Goy.
Yes. And two young guys were finishing a late lunch. They all appeared to be eating the same thing, steak. Yeah, I'm sure they were. Dressed down in a mint-coloured hoodie, paperclip thin and pint-sized, he looked tired as he welcomed me. He has large, wet, round eyes. A fish crossed with a songbird. Foster cleared away the steaks. I told Kissen how striking I thought his speech was. Did you? Kissen immediately suspected that my compliment was not genuine. I immediately felt it was going to be a long afternoon. I told him what was good about it. The speech was not banal, not weighed down by predictable culture war talking points. Kissen agreed. People are starting to realise that you can't just bang on about what's wrong. You have to have a positive vision for the future. I spent the next hour or so trying to work out what Kissen's vision actually is. What do we know about Constantine Kissen? He was born in Moscow in the former Soviet Union 40 years ago. He was sent to the boarding school Clifton College in Bristol in 1995 without being able to speak English. He is described being picked on there and left Edinburgh University without finishing his degree. Kissen refers to himself as a first-generation migrant. In the early 90s, with Russia in chaotic flux, his family was briefly wealthy. His father served as a junior minister in one of Boris Yeltsin's cabinets before being hounded out of the country on tax evasion charges.
Kissen said his father was later cleared of all wrongdoing, which is not, well, We don't know. It kind of went away, which is very odd. He fled to the West. He had $300,000 in Western bank accounts. That's known. He's putting his son, as we see here, and there's quite a good comment about this, actually, on when I made the original point. I like a lot of what I hear from Constantine Kissen, even when I disagree with him. But the idea his father fled Russia with no money when Constantine was 11, but had enough to send him to Clifton College at age 13, seems implausible.
I mean, what's the presumption here? Of course, and where you get the fees for Clifton College.
Let's have a look at Clifton College, shall we? Oh, the poor penniless dissident hounded out of Russia, paying so his son can attend a £15,000 a term boarding school.
But it begs the question as well, though. We happen to know an individual, and he's a very good man.
Yes.
Who may or may have not made some business mistakes in Russia.
Yes.
And because of that, his life there, as far as he considers it, is over.
Yes.
There are untold assets over there, still in his name, still unused, which can be claimed. But he can never go back to get them, because he knows the moment he arrives in, Moscow or St. Petersburg airport, he will be arrested.
Yes.
Now, how is it like someone like the Kissen family have managed to reinvent themselves as stalwarts of Western culture and all these different aspects of the world and the values, and they're defending Britain and they're defending Israel and they're defending Ukraine and blah blah blah, and be these members of prominence without any of them ever getting called back to Russia to maybe answer for their crimes?
It's very odd as well. Like I said, it seems that the positive vision that Constantine Kissen has is that he was sent to an expensive boarding school on the dime of the Russian people. The thing is, if you look at this, and I can only look at this in one way, in that he and his father, in the Yeltsin years, as many of the officials did, took food out of the mouths of the Russian people. During one of the biggest drops in living standards in recent times, he was sending his son to a £15,000 a term boarding school.
I would actually go one further. I would suggest that people like Vadim Kissen were eating out of the hands of the Russian people, not because they wanted to, but probably under some kind of orders.
It's very odd that he is just allowed to slip himself into not only British society, but his son becomes the face of anti-wokeness. He becomes a political figure. I mean, it's almost like these people are always pre-compromised.
Yes. Well, you think of the amount of squabbling that goes on about Russian influence and Russian money in British politics, but this never comes up. It's almost like some sort of handshake deal has been made. You went and helped collapse the Yeltsin government and fully put Russia in our hands, so we're going to turn your son into a high-flying political celebrity of some form or another.
Yes, basically yes. Again, he's somebody who is not from a normal background. The way he talks about himself is a lie. And that's really what we're trying to communicate here. But, okay, he's a grifter. He's somebody whose dad embezzled a huge amount of money from Russia and used it to give him a fancy life. He's not a particularly nice person. But what does he have to say? What is our problem with his messaging? And most of his messaging, to be honest with you, is banal. He is a boilerplate, anti-woke talking head. He is somebody who says nothing most of the time because he believes in nothing, like all these people do.
Well, I think maybe we can mention after this clip, because there's a related thing to it that I would want to say.
Yes.
But trigonometry represents where the cutting edge of the elites wants public opinion to be.
Yes.
It doesn't matter, woke only existed as a media phenomenon, and the large part of it, and we have all sort of become agreed upon this.
Yes.
And what we're saying, and what we have been saying for a while, is anti-woke is exactly the same.
Yes.
You're looking at another... I can't even think of woke, quote-unquote, media people, but you're looking at the exact same thing brought about by the exact same methods for the hopes of creating the exact same results.
Yes.
Moving public opinion, shifting the Overton window so that people feel it's acceptable to say what that guy on that podcast that was talking to Matt Goodwin said.
Yes. Well, here's Constantine Kissen and the furniture talking to somebody who was the victim of a Muslim rape gang. That is the context here. The context here is that this was somebody who was raped because they were white. And that is a matter of basically public record. There was a whitewash inquiry attempt, but really, large parts of the British state even acknowledged that these people were raped because they are white. Anyway.
To the Black Lives Matter thing as well. And this is the reason that we've opposed identity politics from the start, because once you start going down this rabbit hole of going, this is a special group, and this is a special group, and that's a special group, and that's but these people, they're not special at all. In fact, then you get into trouble, because eventually, Helen Dale, who we had on the show, she said, I remember saying this in the 90s, if you're going to have gay pride, at some point, someone's going to go, we need straight pride.
Straight pride, yeah.
And this is the problem with all of this. Yeah. And this is the far left that you talk about. That's where it all comes from, this ideology of getting everybody into their own little group. And now white people need to advocate for themselves. That's not, you talk about history, not a healthy recipe.
No.
Not a healthy recipe.
Not a healthy recipe.
We need to go back to this idea that people are individuals, and you can be racist against anyone, including white people, to the Black Lives.
But yes,
what a disgusting anti-Semite. I'll have you know the Jews are a very special people, Mr. Kissen.
Well, Mr. Kissen was also awarded, I believe, Jewish Comedian of the Year at one point.
Yes.
Which flies in the face of this idea that we shouldn't have these categories for each other. But that is one of the most slimy maneuvers I've ever seen anyone do on camera. That is him turning around and go, but don't you say that this happened to you because you are white.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have the example to hand here, but I, at one point a couple of weeks ago, had a very, very brief spat. I say spat, I was blocked by someone who's this sort of female commentatory woman that appears on GB News and some other places. But for one sense or another, she is brown. She is browner than brown and is not British. And I always like to point this out. And I have no problems with that. But if you want to sit there and go, being Britain's about having the right values when you don't even have white skin, it's like, well, I'm going to think that's suspicious.
It's very odd, isn't it?
And we can see the angle here. Take someone who's a victim of some very intense, ethnically charged crime,
yes,
and walk them back.
Yes.
Now, this woman in question I was having a slight sort of tiff with had also been a victim, quite possibly, of a heavily ethnically charged crime. And there she was in an interview with the Trigonometry people going, well, this wouldn't happen in Britain. What happened to me wouldn't happen to every other woman as long as we were tolerant and we respected individuals, knowing fair well, or maybe in this woman's case, not knowing fair well that that's the reason why she was taken advantage of by some grooming gang.
Yes.
How awful is it that you've got arms of the British security state manipulating little political influencers and podcast people with troubled pasts, awfully troubled pasts, and making them recite and praise the values that saw them become people who got raped?
Yes, it is. It is basically telling them, well, it's part and parcel of living in a big city stuff.
Of course, to the
part and parcel of
the
living
backing soundtrack of one Mr. Constantine Kissen doing that.
Well, here's a clip. And you'll be astounded by this because there's no challenging. This is quite a famous clip when they had Bill Maher on. And it's another one of these people are supposed to be political dissidents. These people are supposed to be anti-leftist. They're supposed to be particularly anti-kind of Islamist, and nominally in some ways anti-immigration, or at least they advertise themselves as such. But let's just watch this, shall we? I hope this isn't too loud, but...
I mean, England became America.
Yeah, we caught your culture.
I mean, I remember being in England first time in the 80s, and it was very different.
Yeah.
Very different.
How so?
Well, first of all, London was like all white.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was.
So can we just celebrate that victory, that we made a place more diverse and not... you never get a pat on the back.
No.
The people who achieve, I feel like, in that area. There's only there's more to do. Of course there's more to do. But can we just get a little, hey, I think I read in Andrew Sullivan's column, London went from 36% to like 86% people of color, or something like that. No, maybe that's too high, but something
majority
like a
minority.
50, like a 50-point swing, 50 points in 2 generations, 3 generations. Okay, that's progress. I'm not a bad person to like clap for progress.
But that is an issue. That is a real issue, Bill. When people
No. Let him keep going.
because people never want to admit when things are going well. And if you only start going, oh, everything's terrible, then you start convincing everybody else that everything's terrible when it's not.
I mean, you say people. I feel like this is something that divides the two parties.
Anyway, that's progress.
I love the nation of Israel. I love the nation of Israel. That's all I have to say. I have no words other than that.
Constantine Kissen and Bill Mayer, who is this we you speak of?
Yeah, who are these people?
Who are these people? Who is this we?
What is this progress?
How is this progress? And why? Oh, yes, we have to acknowledge that this is... And there's no pushback. They just move on.
Yeah.
He agrees with him. He nods along. Welcome to your dissidents. These are... It's like, this is your life. These
are
your dissidents. Whee! We've got one more here, actually. We've got one more.
I already know this one, so I'll let that play.
And that's why we've got Mr. Glenn Beck, CEO of the main commentator, and also CEO of the Blaze and CEO of the company that owns the Blaze. And this is taking place on Blaze TV. I don't know. If I had to have that logo next to me, I'd be very embarrassed. But that's a different story. Let's keep going.
And I'm so used now to be called a Nazi because, and I don't know how, I've won the Defender of Israel award. I don't know how I'm anti-Semite.
He literally did win the. He's not being. That's not like a song. He did win the Defender of Israel award, by the way.
God, you wouldn't joke about
Somehow or
that
other, I'm an
now, would you?
anti-Semitic Nazi, and then I hear people on the streets quoting Hitler. I wonder, is anyone going to wake up from this? Are there...
No. These people who spent 7 years at least calling everybody a Nazi, they don't recognize Nazis when they see them.
It's the real Nazis this time, guys.
So these are subjects we can't joke about, in the way that I will not joke about how much I love the nation of Israel. Come on, chat, show us your love.
Can we get some love for Israel?
I will say quickly, if you just scroll down, look at the description here.
Yeah.
Co-host Constantine Kissen grew up in the Soviet Union, so he knows what tyranny looks like. Yes, I'm sure as the rich kid of possibly a sabotaging member of the Yeltsin government who was embezzling possibly millions of dollars, he damn well knows what tyranny looks like.
Yeah, he knows
from the other side.
From the other side, yes. The video is just called "Why We Don't Recognize Real Nazis." The thing is, this is what we've always said.
Yes.
The neocons, when the real right wing comes around, are all going to turn around and call us the real Nazis. It's so funny seeing what is supposed to be a nominally right wing political dissident talking about.
I'm mostly indifferent towards Israel, says Rambling Imbecile in chat. I won't stand for this anti-Semitism, you know.
That's a joke, but I've only put you in a 10-second timeout. Very funny.
But yes, it is a big talking point from the tech bro, PayPal, Matrix, whatever the fuck you want to call these group of people, that everyone's a Nazi nowadays, so it doesn't matter. But the subtext to what they're saying is, well, we have to work on redefining who the Nazis are.
Yes, the subtext is that
when Elon Musk or Matt Goodwin or David, or whatever his name is, Glenn Beck, whatever the fuck his name is, I bet he wish he was called David. When these people say this, they aren't turning around and defending you. As you mentioned, it's a wink and a nod and a warning.
It's a warning, yes. It's that, yes, you are the real Nazis. Good Lord, these people. But this is emblematic. The reason we use trigonometry is that they're kind of, I guess Francis Foster again, the guy. But there's all these people, you see them scrolling by here. So I don't know why oh my God, this is a horribly designed website, but Again, Richard Dawkins, Stephen fucking Pinker, Constantine Kissen, Dissident Dialogues, brought to you, by the way, by Unheard. There it is, look, in partnership with Unheard.
Thank you, Tim Montgomery.
Thank you, Tim Montgomery. Thank you,
Paul Marshall.
Thank you, Paul Marshall, who is, by the way, funding this whole thing, basically. This is another Paul Marshall vehicle. But look down here, Dissident Dialogues, Richard Dawkins, Ayaan Hirsi Ali.
Before we lose it at the list of nonsense people on here, observant people in the chat who use Twitter, notice who does and does not go to this event.
Yes.
It's a weekend in New York. I don't think the tickets are particularly cheap. Maybe we want to check for a bit of a laugh.
Kathleen Stock's there too.
Watch and see who turns up at this.
Yeah, we'll see who we find here.
I tell you what, we'll not be getting invited.
No, we will not. But those of you, watch out other containment videos.
Oh my god, that's like the fucking Red Scare communist podcast lady down there and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's oops, all Steven Pinkers, oops, all Richard Dawkins. Again, welcome to your dissidents. If you do not choose your leaders, they will be chosen for you.
I mean, look, if I wanted to see people like this and hear them fucking rambling, I'd go on a cheap holiday to the Levant.
Oh, dear. But it's just, okay, we scroll on to the bottom here. This is run, it's got Fire there, great, a few sponsors, but this is 42, which is a management, event and press inquiries. This is 42. Huh. Well, what is This is 42? Who are they then? Oh, it's run by a guy called Desha Amil, immigrant, entrepreneur, survivor.
Dissident. They forgot dissident. That's the most important part. Oh, let's go use personal description. I'll have a look through this. Give us a read more. I want the full spiel.
Okay, do we get the full spiel here?
Oh, we might as well.
Biography.
God, look at these awful trainers and everything.
Here we go.
A product of immigration, integration, and innovation. Sri Lankan-born Desh Amila started from humble beginnings before realising his dream was in the West and migrated to Melbourne, Australia in 2000, probably illegally. Desh has since pioneered his career as an entrepreneur, entertainer, and educator on a global scale. After graduating from Melbourne's Deakin University with a Bachelor of Arts, do you mind giving us some scroll?
There we go.
In 2005, Desh soon realised that this was merely his first step into a world of many successes, many more uncertainties, painful growths, and profound realisations. With a desire to inspire, Desh is on a mission to educate, entertain, and enhance the lives of those he connects with. At no point has his career been a simple, single entity. It has always been multifaceted and ever-evolving, from rubbing shoulders with celebrity innovators to a gradual transition from entertainment to education, before finally bringing the two together. Desh's career and life story track the journey from consumer to communicator to creator, which is why he's probably committed some awful war crime in Sri Lanka and has basically been back over here like bloody Vadim Kissen.
It's so it's like immigrant tech bro thing.
Immigration, integration, and innovation. Woo!
Well, this is 42. It's basically a talent agency. Yeah, it's a talent agency for washed up, supposedly dissident hacks.
Oh, so if I want to hire Richard Dawkins to spit shine my fucking shoes or something.
Most of which are like the radical. Most of which are the Steven Pinker. Look at it. It's all so banal and it's all so awful because it's just these people trying to have a media career. Your dissidents is just these people's media career. It's just some tech bro who celebrates immigration selling you all of these supposedly authoritative figures, again, fucking Richard Dawkins, talent agency website.
The thing is,
whoring themselves out for relevance.
The thing is, though, it goes beyond grifting because these people don't just, have a bit of backing or have a little bit of institutional support or media support. They are of a class of people we are not allowed to be in.
No.
They are allowed into positions that people like ourselves will never even get to see.
Yes.
And ultimately they are there because they are either one, clever enough to know who they really speak for,
Yes.
or not stupid enough to know that the people giving them their notes for their next stream or their next podcast are like Mossad agents and MI5.
Basically, yes. But again, it's just so banal. It's just so simple that all of these people just want theirs.
Yep.
They just want theirs. And your political dissidents, in association with Unheard,
Well, of course.
will just be a boring media tour of the exact same talking heads from 20 years ago. It's still Richard Dawkins. It's still Steven Pinker. Nobody still cares, and we all still pretend that this is the alternate political conversation. We pretend that this is, people talk about Labour governing unopposed if they get all the seats. It's just, well, what opposition? What are you talking about when you talk about political opposition in the West? It doesn't exist because all of these people are on teat. All of them. And again, someone like Mary Harrington, we bang on about Unheard, but they are people who are shilled in our circles. They are people who we are told repeatedly, even by people we know, that we should take seriously.
It's people we are constantly exposed to.
Yes.
As a consequence of the sphere we exist in.
Tell you what, let's just read this piece by Mary Harrington on Unheard.
Israel's enemies are blinded by the sins of America. Pro-Palestinian leftists offer no better alternative.
They're already trying to be like, being anti-Israel is leftist. But
Of course. Being anti-Israel is brown. Being pro-Israel is white. Get it?
There's a lot of stuff I'm cutting out, a lot of waffle, but basically she's praising America as a stabilizing force in the world throughout this. But I just want to read you these two paragraphs because they are two of, I believe, the most egregious paragraphs I have ever read in a supposedly... This is someone who's supposed to understand Schmidt. This is someone who's supposed to be as right-wing as we are and understand the literature that we do, and yet they come out and they say this. But only a fool would take these bleak realities as license to equivocate about a conflict now unfolding. Both sidesing is itself a peacetime luxury made possible by Pax Americana. The American empire may be amoral, extractive, asymmetrical, and at times infuriatingly hypocritical, but every empire throughout recorded history has had feet of clay as well as high ideals. With all its faults, America remains the principal guarantor of relative peace and order across a colossal sphere of influence that spans half the planet and may include my own nation. She's talking about Britain as a vassal nation being a good thing. Just today, Joe Biden will step up to that project once again with a visit to Tel Aviv. Do we want him to succeed or not? Those who dream of America's downfall, hey, it's us, literally or symbolically, or by symbolic proxy, offer no better alternative. And a great many worse ones. In reality, there are no blank slate beginnings. There are no happy endings either. We can only ever pick a place and take a stand. I stand with peace and order, however flawed. I stand with Israel.
I think she understands Carl Schmitt very well.
Yes, so do I.
Just on the other side of the fence.
If you are going to tell me that I should play ball with Mary fucking Harrington, who comes out and says, I will wave the flag of not only Israel, but the American empire, then you are lost. What the fuck are you talking about? And all of these people, you know who you are, by the way, if you hear this. You know who you are who are in these groups with these people. We know who you are, and you know who you are, who think you can play these political games and play coy and pretend that you are going to get one up on somebody who works effectively for the Tory party and openly worships the American empire. What is wrong with you people that these are your dissidents and that we are told that we are making trouble for pointing this out? But this is the world that we live in.
Yep. I have very little to add other than the fact that, of course, I too stand with Israel.
Yes, I too support the nation of Israel.
There is a slightly different tact we want to discuss here as well. We've looked at the containment rights, which we have sort of discussed and will continue to discuss as something that is taking its time to come together. It's not in its fully fledged form. Not every aspect of the quote-unquote conservative counterculture has been totally politicized yet, which is maybe a point we should discuss towards the end. But one thing that has been completely and utterly politicized beyond even note anymore these days is anything to do with leftism.
Yes.
And anything to do with, like, video game bugman culture.
Can you hear it? Can you hear it coming, Evelyn? I'm afraid something's happened. It's Gamergate 2! Oh! It's happened.
The bike really peaked like hell there, but that was
It's
just too
happened,
funny.
guys. It's happened. It's finally happened. Gamergate 2. Gamergate, I repeat, it's Gamergate 2. I'm sorry, we do have a link here. Mr. Kissen blocked me, and apparently you can't archive fucking...
You can't archive anything on Twitter anymore.
But here's Brianna Woo trying to suck up to Constantine Kissen because she's part of the same sphere as him. For those of you who don't know who Brianna Woo is... Oh boy.
Are you green?
Oh boy, are you green? We're not going to cover that. She's basically a joke. Imagine like the Democrat equivalent of like Jar Jar Binks, but like pound shopized. She was a minor figure, and I hate to say it, but this all is relevant, and we'll bring it round because this is very cringe to start with. I'm sorry, but she was a minor figure in Gamergate who was a developer who made a terrible game, who also turned out to be a rather not very good looking troon.
Who may or may have not been using it as a way to scam people.
Yes.
But
John Flynn.
Let's rattle through this fucking nonsense, because we all know these people are scum anyway.
Well, okay. What I found was that there are two super PACs that this Brianna Woo one. For those of you who are asking about who's in the thumbnail, I'm sorry, it is Brianna Woo and it is Gamergate 2.
I mean,
even we can't avoid Gamergate 2.
In case we forget to mention it, the crossover here is Constantine Kissen is a man who will be paid and continually takes money from Western and even Israeli defense lobby bodies, think tanks, security state people, and whatever to promote democracy in the Western world and also in the Middle East.
Yes.
Here's Brianna Woo, legacy leftist, turning around and saying, I stand with you, Kissen, democracy in the Middle East now. And that should really be deeply worrying to everyone. Because what you're witnessing is both the left and the right hand of dissident politics shaking over the issue of Israel.
Effectively, yes. Containment Kissen, thank you for the $2 there. He is the eunuch, a good friend of the channel. But there's two little kind of packs that have come out. For those of you who don't know what a pack is, tune out and go watch some nursery rhymes. But for those of you who do know what a political pack is, these ones are very boilerplate. Really, they look quite innocent in certain ways, but what they've been doing is they've been going round and paying, without disclosure in many cases, paying small contributors on the political side.
Twitch streamers.
Political streamers.
On YouTube. The bread tubers, the crumb tubers.
The radicals, the remainder of the radical centrists.
I don't know, your thought slimes or whatever the fuck these people are called.
It's just so low end. But even down here in the gutter, when we're talking about fucking Gamergate 2 and Brianna Woo, the containment sphere is still here. The containment sphere extends all the way down. All the way down to street level here. And we're going to be looking at some slightly sad street level people. But, here it is. Introducing Rebellion Pack. I'm thrilled to finally be able to announce that I've been working on. I've accepted a position as Executive Director of Rebellion Pack, a progressive super PAC with the resources and relentlessness needed to lead progressives to victory. This, by the way, is Brianna Woo and
Chen Yuger.
Chen Yuger.
Yeah, I'm proud to have started Rebellion Pack with Chen Yuger of the Young Turks. Between the two of us, we raised about $2 million in our congressional runs.
Yeah.
God, when I think of today's Democratic Party, I think of the Marquis of Queensberry rules that were developed. You fucking...
That's awful. Awful. Anyway, they have a long, rambling ethics statement, which should preclude what they've been doing, but I'm not going to read it.
No.
Again, these are two, Chen Yuger, Brianna Woo, kind of internet personalities, one larger than the other.
I mean, to be fair, Chen Yuger was maybe more established as a political type in a professional sense a long time ago, but the point still stands.
What is bizarre that he would get into bed with someone like Brianna Woo, though.
Especially now. That's far off.
Especially now, yes. But anyway, what have these people been doing? Well, they've also been working in a pack called Progressive Victory, which, again, I'm not going to go through who all these people are, but a lot of their leadership is made up of ex-Obama administration low-level people. It's just the DNC guys. It's just DNC staffers doing DNC staffer stuff and injecting money into the debatosphere, into the real ground level, the real grinding out, the proper job squad area of online politics. But this will become relevant here because this, as we'll see in a second, is lies. This is just
people would go on the internet and not tell the truth.
I don't go around a lot of benefit that I don't come out and just this is a fucking lie. Because you're about to see this be contradicted out of her own mouth. But anyway, excuse you. Do you want to read this one, Evelyn?
Yes. Attention. Here are some facts about what Progressive Victory does and doesn't do. Real tired of hearing you've got the fucking account that lets you type more than 280 characters. Actually put real grammar in it, you cunt.
Yeah.
Real tired of hearing people just wildly speculating, having no idea and getting it wrong. Q. Is Progressive Victory Brianna Woo's pack? A. No, I am the equivalent of a vice president. I run a large team called Operations. Our leader is Sam Drizmala.
Ex-Obama administration.
I wonder what country he originates from. Q. Is Progressive Victory a pack that pays streamers to make content? Hell no. I do not pay anyone to make anything, and I would never ask. We look for people doing good work, and we give them support. We do our work with streamers, but that is through our LLC and non-profit, not our PAC.
Again, it's them weasel words. Look at the weaseling going on here.
That's also them admitting they're doing it through some sort of shadow.
Yeah, they are doing it through some kind of shadow entity, yes.
Does Progressive Victory get involved in inter-streamer drama? No, what people do outside my team doesn't concern me. Can't say I don't watch though. Popcorn emoji. If you're curious about something, maybe find out. Don't just make shit up.
Anyway.
Turns out that's all bollocks.
Well, here's... First of all, let's look at Progressive Victory. They are not a grassroots pack, in quotes. They did not just get this from donors, because if you look at where their money comes from, what does that say?
Act Blue.
It says Act Blue. For those of you who don't know, Act Blue is the DNC's giant funding umbrella for all of their community project stuff and all their little packs like this, in which the DNC money is filtered out down to Brianna fucking Woo, okay, and Chen Yuger go around throwing little bits of DNC money at little bread tubers, making them dance for pennies. And as you'll see here, Act Blue, Act Blue, Act Blue, Act Blue. They get large parts of that. It's in little increments, but it all adds up, really.
I presume the $689 is due to a specific tax limit or something like that.
Yes, part of it is due to tax limits and donation limits, and they work around all of the supposed restrictive limits. But look, it's just Act Blue. This money is just coming from the DNC. So it's DNC money. And who's taking this DNC money? Oh, you better believe that Destiny's got his nose in that fucking trough. Look at him. Brought to you by the DNC. Directly. Destiny. We just proved it. There you go. He's been paid by the Democrat Party. And it's just out there in the open. And people believe that any of the online conversations they witness are genuine. They are not genuine. None of this is genuine.
I am gonna go further here. Because the presumption that most people have made once coming across this is that these people are stupid.
Yes.
I don't think that's the case.
These people are not stupid.
These people are very clever and want to create an environment where there is complete and utter false transparency around essentially lobbying, political advertising, and directly paying people to do your messaging. So they'll have a couple of these idiots like Brianna Woo and Destiny probably all get strung up on FTC charges or some other thing that's fraudulent. But at the end of the day, when all is said and done, this will become a formalised thing.
Yes.
And you will now just, I know it's something that's been pointed out on the odd occasion, but it will just become the norm that your children sit with TikTok in front of them watching like political adverts all day.
Yeah, all of what you see as political YouTube, as political Twitch, it's all just kayfabe. It's all just, once again, fake online lobbying. Here's a story from NBC, a local NBC station. Why is a high-profile YouTuber and stream team coming to Ohio? Cincinnati, an internet personality with 776,000 YouTube followers, is teaming up with dozens of other streamers and hundreds of volunteers in an effort to reach young voters, starting with a trip to Ohio. Progressive Victory, the online community of activists, content creators, and volunteers, is holding a canvassing event in Cincinnati. It's basically, a lot of it is done under Destiny, Stephen Bonnell II, a prominent figure in internet live stream, political discourse. They do it under the guise of like voter registration, the most boilerplate thing you
Go
can
out
do.
and vote.
But this,
do you remember when Casey Neistat did this for Hillary Clinton in like 2015 and got absolutely eaten alive for it? And here we are like 9 years later, and it's just the norm. This is just how it works now.
Also, like, for those of you, Brianna Woo is also like a crazy person.
No, I know, but I remember that being like an event that people talked about for weeks. This vlogger dude says go out and vote, and he sort of took money from something that Hillary Clinton might have owned in the process of doing so.
Yeah.
And it was a revelatory thing, and more stuff came out about it. And this is just happening. Crickets.
Nobody cares.
Crickets.
Like, this is just normal that, like, you know, someone like Destiny can sit there and just hoover up DNC dollars. And it's just not an issue because this is how far down the containment rabbit hole we are. It is so non-genuine that people just yawn at this stuff. But these are the two arms. You have Constantine Kissen basically shaking hands with people like Chen Yuger and, God, I don't know what Anna Kasparian's doing. Everyone's taking a jump towards the centre, basically. And the centre is just, well, it's what we believe. And, of course, the central neutral position is the love of Israel.
Of course.
Of course it is. But
The sensible centre.
I'm sorry, but I must now descend into what you may consider drama. But it is very relevant because it is not drama. I'm very sorry for what I'm about to do, but there will be Adam, Sitch, and I hate to say it, Dev on the stream for a second because we oh shit, my little earbuds come up. We have reached our own little sphere here. We have reached people I used to work with and I used to do stuff with. Oh no!
Tell you what, you hold that and entertain people. Apologies for the thumping.
Yeah, we've reached the stuff that we're in contact with. We've reached people that, you know, we used to talk to.
Wouldn't it be really embarrassing though if you had made a career for maybe over half a decade on the internet being an anti-woke, pro-gamer gay, anti-Brianna Woo, anti all these people, and then for one reason or another it turns out you were taking money from them and the Democrats alongside them.
Allegedly. The point is that this, and I'll get into my spiel later, this creates the appearance of impropriety at least, that this woman has been paying anyone who will take the bucks. And you know what, let's just listen to the stream here, because there's a very telling bit.
Talk about the major stories for the week, and we would sit there and figure out what was important, what the good strong messaging would be, and we would look at clips that people had put out that we thought resonated with the core values of the organization, and we would help promote them. So 100% above board, very normal. I hate to break it to y'all, this is happening on Twitch, TikTok, 1 trillion times worse, This is politics.
There were Twitch politics streamers doing this with you, basically?
Yeah.
Okay. And like everyone knew it was like a big secret thing. It was always public?
I didn't tell anyone if they needed to say if they were doing it or not. It's their choice to make how they run their own careers and what they want to say.
I was going to say, they go, we were accused of taking money, and they just gloss over the fact that there's all these Twitch streamers. Nobody's talking about this, by the way. There's a couple of guys who came out and said, yes, I was paid by Progressive Victory, but not disclosing that you are sponsored, especially politically, is an FTC violation. It's not on their part. She's being Weasley here again. Oh, well, what people choose to do and not do is none of our business. It's like, bitch, you know that people are supposed to disclose when they are paid by a political organization to do messaging on Twitch. It is one of the most basic pieces of disclosure that you can do. And really, again, it kind of, streams to make content. Yes, it does. She just said it does. She said, oh, TikTok does it worse. It's just all lies. So if she's lying about this, if people are lying about taking the money, there's some very, very basic questions to be asked here about what's been going on. And especially kind of, the radical centrists. Again, the Adam and Sitches. Oh, God, for God forbid, the devs of this world. I wish this wasn't involved almost personally with this, but it is. Like, who has been paid by these PACs? How much and what for? Why is this information opaque when the FTC has clear sponsorship guidelines, especially when it comes to politics? Brianna Woo has lied about paying streamers to cover certain talking points. Her tweet directly contradicts her words on stream. Since Brianna Woo admits that she has given payments to streamers who have chosen to break the law and not disclose, every stream involving her has the appearance of impropriety. How can we trust any stream involving either the PAC or anyone involved in them when they admit to undisclosed payments to content creators for political messaging? That is the crux of this. And it reaches down all the way from ActBlue through Progressive Victory into the hands of God knows who, because they are breaking the law and they will not tell you. And again, people will go and say, well, I didn't take money. But you appeared on sponsored content. You did it for free. The defense here from a lot of the radical centrist types or the breadtube types are all these people who don't actually fucking matter, really. These people don't matter. And the thing that makes them matter is that the power structure is willing to reach down
and integrate them into the form.
Into the form. You've got somebody who's taking ActBlue money, message crafting on Adam and Sitch with Dev. It's so bizarre, but it's true. It is right in our midst. The containment extends right down here. That's why it is the infinite containment.
Well, the point you make sort of further here, or I was going to make as well, I'm sure it's not just the Democrats that are doing this.
No.
Maybe we could consider, maybe if it hasn't already happened, what people might be approached, what money might change hands, and what talking points they might pick up. Say, for example, if some new fancy Think Blue or Onward Blue or whatever trendy lobby group for young conservatives turn around and says, well, here's a football streamer and here's someone who streams COD and here's a relatively centrist right political stream, and we're just going to start throwing them hundreds of pounds every broadcast to, give us an hour or two of our talking points directly probably to your own children. Who knows?
Well, I've got some conclusions here. Really, this is the crux of what we're talking about, is that all political influencers pushed by elements of the regime, and you can identify those financially, like ActBlue or any of those, are compromised and were likely compromised long before you ever heard of them. You likely heard of them because they are compromised. And Constantine Kissen's a great example of that.
Yes.
He's the son of an embezzler from the former Soviet Union who was taken with open arms into British society. He attended an expensive boarding school, basically on the dime of the Russian people. And he does so unapologetically, and he does so whilst basically saying that we should destroy Russia.
Yes. If someone as low-end as debatosphere, as political rent boys like Destiny and their orbiters are taking money from the DNC, it shows that every corner of online politics, no matter how small, is having election money pumped into it from an infinite money pit. No wonder everyone's got da fever.
Yes.
This containment on both sides functions identically and usually focuses on the consensus issues like democracy, free speech, and the endless conversations. It is about controlling the conversation wherever and however it is being had. I mean, I just want to point out again, Gamergate leftist trannies like
Yes.
Brianna Woo are shaking hands with people like Constantine Kissen from the anti-woke sphere over the issue of Israel.
Yes.
And they are being brought together by lobbying sums of millions,
Yes.
hundreds of millions, as part of these big networks. And they're just another cog in it.
Yeah. Constantine Kissen is appearing on an unheard panel funded by effectively the Tory party. And Brianna Woo is putting Destiny and all of these irrelevant people, really, that have small captured audiences, onto a stage together with DNC money. And they're both arms, ultimately, of the same empire. And it filters down all the way to the crumbs. It's all the way up. It's vertically integrated. That's why we've called it infinite containment.
Yes, but
the only way to achieve total hegemony is to buy everyone with a public platform. Oh god, a minute. So that's what they do. Stop there.
Everything gets crowded out. There is no space for organic conversation.
Yes.
And particularly in moments where it looks like a small subset of people might be working towards some kind of consensus of their own, some sort of rallying point, even if only in a simple ideological sense, all of a sudden, drama appears.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to give Brianna Woo advice, but that third question there, does progressive victory get involved in inter-streamer drama? I wouldn't have even considered putting that there.
No.
Because that's not just we're doing a little bit of lobbying, that's we're involved in a consensus cracking operation.
Oh, yes. Well, it is a consensus cracking operation. This is why you always find yourself crowded out by these ha-ha, nothing matters, radical centrist irony people, because they're being paid. They're all being paid, and we only see part of it. This is just what we see. But if they can reach down, and if they can basically, as I said, start throwing pennies at bread tubers to make them dance the DNC tune, and make them nominally, let's say, less unfriendly to certain countries, as Mr. Destiny seems to have become very virulently, as we are, but maybe not as virulently, down a bit.
No one loves Israel more than me. I will not.
No,
I will not have anyone.
But to love it, we must criticize it sometimes. It's all fake. Again, most of it you can tune out from, unless it's something that you find properly resonates with you, unless you think it is part of what you think is a solution, unless it's giving you practical answers. Don't engage with it.
Yes, and fundamentally recognize that public opinion isn't real.
Yes.
It's manufactured.
All of it is.
If you think you see the Overton windows shifting, what you are witnessing is your moment in a sort of stationary position, and you're watching the regime move around you so that public opinion comes with it. They aren't catching up. They're getting everyone else on song.
And again, that's why we don't. A lot of people ask me to talk about some of these personalities, and my comment is that they don't matter because they are simply arms of the regime. And pointing out the arms of the regime is useful, but engaging with the regime is still engaging with the regime's framework. Once you realize that these people, one, are not convincible, and two, are just simply doing it for the money, then you can step over them. It is recognizing the containment doesn't mean that we should become continuously obsessed with it. It means that we should step over it. And that's why we do a mix of identifying where we are being contained, and we've been doing a lot more kind of practical building and positive vision stuff, have you seen? The way out is through, positive vision for the right, about coming to libertarianism, all that stuff.
I just want to reiterate what one Chancellor Chieftain, who is a regular super chatter, I believe, sometimes, and owns a Substack, has been saying in chat, get off the internet.
Yes.
I think the only way you can really quote-unquote fight this stuff is by completely disengaging with it, so that it becomes almost purely synthetic. It becomes Constantine Kissen and his friends having conversations with themselves.
Yes. Again, once you realise that they're not genuine, you can simply disregard them, apart from when you need to fight them and show the people that they are not genuine.
But as soon as we're on the way out, I should say, people that want to support us in any way can do via the Ko-Fi, links in the chat, or via a super chat or the super stickers, or as a channel member, or as a subscriber to the Substack.
Yes.
And if you can't or don't want to do those things, you can also leave us some comments and some likes. I see that we've got basically record view numbers for us by quite a strong margin at the moment. So if you have enjoyed this stream and you want more people to see these streams so there's more people engaging with it and we've got more options with what we want to do with it, tell us how much you like Al Gore's rhythm.
Yes, again,
And tell us how engaging his rhythms are.
we don't have a teat to suckle from. That's why we're so small. That's why we don't get pushed. That's why you won't see us in recommended. That's why we don't catch the algorithm. That's why 80% of our views come from people who are subscribed. Because we are not part of any of this, and we can prove we are, because we're fucking penniless sometimes, and nobody will sponsor us for anything. So you can trust us, because we don't have a box person.
Someone in chat there, isn't it better to engage with their audiences? No, because they aren't real.
It's not real. Why would you engage with an audience of people who aren't real?
Yes.
Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Do support the content. Do interact with it. Do give us all the help you can. Really, we're on our own here in many cases. So we're not going to sit here and beg you, but we will say thank you very much for watching. We do enjoy you guys, and have yourselves a very good evening.
Go to the pub.
Yes.